with your heart, your life, and your future. That's what I believed when I married Laura. She was my world, beautiful, smart, and captivating in every way. For 12 years, I thought we were partners in every sense of the word. I thought we were building something real and unshakable, but life has a way of throwing you curveballs, and sometimes the person you think you know best turns out to be someone entirely different. It all started with a gut feeling, that strange sensation when things feel off. Laura had been distracted for weeks. She was always on her phone, her laughter softer, her smiles fewer. When I asked her about it, she dismissed it, chalking it up to stress from work. Nothing to worry about, she said, brushing a hand through her perfectly curled hair. But I worried. Oh, I worried. One evening I caught a glimpse of her phone screen as she hurriedly locked it. When I entered the room, my heart sank. When I saw a man's name, Michael, I tried to push away the suspicion, tried to convince myself it was innocent, but the nagging feeling wouldn't let go. The turning point came a week later. Laura left her laptop open on the kitchen counter while she stepped out for groceries. A notification popped up. It was an email from Michael, and the subject line read, "Last night was unforgettable." My hands shook as I clicked on it, my stomach churning with dread. The message was explicit, leaving no room for doubt. My wife was having an affair. For a moment I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened as anger, betrayal, and heartbreak collided within me, but I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I sat down, my mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. If I was going to handle this, I needed to be smart about it. I needed to stay calm and gather more information. I wasn't about to let her spin some story that would paint her as the victim. Over the next few days, I played the part of the oblivious husband. I hired a private investigator to dig deeper, and the results were as damning as they were infuriating. Pictures of Laura meeting Michael at a fancy hotel, text logs detailing their rendezvous, and even receipts for expensive gifts she'd bought for him using our joint account. The final nail in the coffin was a voice recording where Laura gushed about her connection with Michael to one of her friends. "He just understands me in ways Jake never could," she said, her voice dripping with smugness. "Our chemistry is unreal. It's like we're soulmates." Soulmates, that word hit me like a ton of bricks. We had built a life together, shared dreams and plans, and now she was throwing it all away for someone she barely knew, and she had the audacity to brag about it. That was the moment I knew I couldn't just let this slide. I wouldn't be the man she painted as clueless and inadequate. No, I had a plan, and it was going to leave her shaking in fear. First, I needed to secure my assets. I consulted a lawyer and learned just how much her actions could cost her in a divorce. Infidelity, especially with the evidence I had, gave me significant leverage. I quietly moved half of our joint savings into an account under my name and ensured our house deed reflected the fact that I'd been the sole contributor. Laura had never been good with finances, and her ignorance was about to work in my favor. Next, I wanted to expose her betrayal to the people who mattered most to her. Laura prided herself on her image, the loving wife, the dedicated friend, the successful career woman. So I hosted a small dinner party, inviting her closest friends and family. She had no idea what was coming that night. As everyone gathered in our living room, I stood up with a smile that bellied the storm brewing inside me. "I have something special to share," I said, pulling out a USB drive. Laura's face paled as I plugged it into the TV and started the slideshow. The room went silent as pictures of her and Michael flashed on the screen. Gasps erupted when the explicit texts appeared, followed by audio clips of her bragging about her affair. Laura sat frozen, her face a mix of shock and horror. Her mother broke down in tears while her best friend shouted, "How could you?" Laura tried to stop me, but I held up a hand. "You wanted everyone to know about your connection, didn't you?" I said, my voice cold as ice. "Well, now they do," but I wasn't done. The piss to resistance was yet to come. "Laura, I've spoken to my lawyer," I announced. "We're getting a divorce. You'll be hearing from him soon about the settlement, or rather lack of one." Her face turned ghostly white. "Jake, please," she stammered, tears streaming down her face. "Let's talk about this privately." "Privately?" I laughed bitterly. "You didn't care about privacy when you were sneaking around, did you?" Michael, the man she'd risked everything for, wasn't spared either. I'd sent copies of the evidence to his wife, who turned out to be even more furious than I was. She filed for divorce within days, taking half of everything he owned as for his job. Let's just say a well-placed tip to his HR department about his extracurricular active. I feared he'd be looking for new employment soon. The fallout was swift and merciless. Laura's pristine reputation was in tatters. Her friends ostracized her. Her Family barely spoke to her, and her workplace where she'd been vying for a promotion became a hostile environment. She tried to reach out to me multiple times begging for forgiveness, but I never responded. I'd already moved on, both emotionally and physically. The cherry on top, the house she loved so much with its marble countertops and sprawling garden now belongs solely to me. I sold it shortly after the divorce was finalized, using the proceeds to buy a new place where I could start fresh. As for Laura, last I heard she was living in a cramped apartment, drowning in regret. Michael, he tried to rekindle their connection, but she rejected him, realizing too late that he was nothing more than a fantasy. Revenge is a dish best served cold, they say, and while I don't consider myself a vindictive man, I couldn't let her betrayal go unanswered. I wasn't just fighting for my dignity, I was reclaiming my life. Now, as I sit in my new home surrounded by people who genuinely care about me, I feel a sense of peace I hadn't known in years. The pain Laura caused will always be a part